I'm still dancing. The four haunting words that signed the communications of one of dark web's most infamous drug lords. Some thought it was a joke, others a warning. A few understood what it really meant. Fentanyl, MDMA, ketamine, Xanax, LSD, cocaine, heroin, the most dangerous substances on Earth, packaged professionally, shipped through legitimate postal services, labeled as books or electronics or vitamin supplements. When Silk Road fell in 2013, the packages kept coming. When AlphaBay was seized in 2017, the packages kept coming. When Hansa Market was infiltrated by Dutch police, the packages kept coming. No matter what happened, no matter how many marketplaces collapsed, how many dealers got arrested, how many shipments were seized at the border, the packages kept coming. Because this wasn't dependent on any single marketplace. This wasn't dependent on any single country. This was a network. Decentralized, resilient, adaptive. And at the center of it all, someone who left only one trace of their presence. That is, until the dance stopped in July 2017. March 2017. Wake County, North Carolina. Federal agents documented a woman visiting 37 different post offices across 3 counties. Never the same location twice in a row. Never using her real name on the return address. She was receiving packages from overseas, unpacking them, repackaging the contents into smaller parcels, then shipping them across the country. One woman, over 4,000 packages across 3 years. But she wasn't the only one. Columbus, Ohio, Miami, Florida, Baltimore, Maryland, Staten Island, New York. A network of ordinary people with no criminal records, doing the same thing, receiving bulk shipments, breaking them down, forwarding them to customers. The investigators named them reshippers, and they were everywhere. But here's what investigators couldn't understand. These people didn't know each other. They'd never met. Most didn't even know they were part of something larger. Someone had built a system where no single arrest could collapse the network. Someone had solved the oldest problem in drug trafficking. How do you scale without creating a single point of failure? The packages they intercepted told a story. Vacuum sealed, professionally packaged, stealth shipping techniques that would make legitimate smugglers jealous. Some packages had been X-ray shielded. Others used decoy items, circuit boards, vitamin bottles, book covers, to mask the contents. 59 kilograms of MDMA seized in various busts, 14 kilograms of ketamine, unknown quantities of fentanyl, the substance killing more Americans than car accidents. And these were only the ones they caught. The investigators now had one question. How do you recruit dozens of reshippers without them realizing they're part of a criminal network? The investigators used one of the oldest tricks to track packages. Don't track them, make them. 4.5 kilograms of MDMA. Street value, $500,000. Packaged professionally. Vacuum sealed. Exactly like the packages the DEA had seized. But this package had something the others didn't. A destination the DEA controlled. An abandoned property in Staten Island. Registered to a shell company. Monitored by hidden cameras. All they had to do was wait. March 1st, 2017, 2:47 p.m. A vehicle pulls up to the gate. A construction worker walks to the door, looks around once but doesn't hesitate. After all, he has done this hundreds of times before, but this time, the moment he gets back to the gate, the DEA moved, pinned him to the ground, read him his rights and arrested him. Anthony Coronati, 34 years old, Staten Island resident, no criminal record. They asked him one question. Who sent you? And here's where it gets interesting. Because Coronati wasn't a career criminal. He wasn't connected to organized crime. He didn't have gang affiliations or cartel contacts. He'd made one mistake 2 years earlier. 2015. Coronati was working construction. Long hours. Physical work. He'd been using bodybuilding forums online, looking for performance enhancers. Steroids were expensive through doctors, but online there were vendors. He found one. Sent Bitcoin and waited for the package. When it arrived, something was wrong. Inside weren't the steroids he'd ordered. Inside were MDMA tablets, worth over $40,000. Coronati immediately emailed his supplier stating he had received the wrong package. 2 days later, his supplier replied, "I apologize for the error. Wrong package sent to your address. I will pay you $500 to forward it to the correct recipient. Just ship it to this address. I'll cover all costs." The email signature, loanushere@gmail.com. Coronati didn't know it yet, but this one email would be the key to unraveling a $350 million multinational drug empire. What he did know was that $500 was his 2-week salary, all for 30 minutes of work. He forwarded the package. A month later, another email, another package, another $500. Within 6 months, he was receiving multiple packages every month. The payments increased. $800, $1,200, sometimes $1,400 for a single shipment. He never asked what was inside. He never met the person emailing him. He just forwarded packages. The DA finally had what they needed: a Gmail address, not a temporary or single-use address, but an actual traceable address. And trace it, they did, back to a small house in Coventry, England. They cross-referenced the email with data seized from marketplace takedowns. Silk Road 2.0, AlphaBay, Hansa. The vendor name appeared across all of them. Liston, a vendor who had been operating since 2012, who had survived every major marketplace collapse, who had transaction records showing over 8,000 Bitcoin in total sales, and who signed every communication with 4 words. The DEA coordinated with the National Crime Agency in the UK to survey the house for 3 months. Waiting, documenting, building a case that couldn't be broken in court. The target maintained a routine. Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, sometimes Saturdays. Always after 11 p.m., a man would leave the apartment, alone, carrying a backpack or a large bag. He'd drive to a different post office each time, never the same location twice in a row. Coventry has 32 post offices. He rotated through them all. October 12th, 2017, 11:47 p.m. The target left his apartment, drove 15 minutes across the city. He parked outside a 24-hour post office, sat in the car for 3 minutes, watching, making sure no one was following. Then he went inside carrying 7 packages, each with return addresses that would later prove to be fake. He never spoke to the clerk, just paid in cash, took his receipts, left. The NCA agents photographed every package, documented every address: North Carolina, Ohio, Florida, Maryland. The same distribution cells the DEA had been tracking in America. But they didn't arrest him. Not yet. They needed more than circumstantial evidence. They needed the source, the drugs, the cryptocurrency, the computer equipment, the cold storage wallets. They needed everything, so they kept watching. November, December, January 2018. The pattern continued. Packages shipped twice a week, different post offices, always late at night. Finally, in April 2019, they were ready to close the net. 5:42 a.m. 23 National Crime Agency officers in 8 unmarked vehicles. They timed it deliberately, early morning, when the target would be home, when he'd be off guard. They needed to be quick, or the suspect would be able to delete everything from their PC and delete all records of the transactions for good. The NCA collects in front of the entry. The ram hits. They found him in the bedroom, alone, no weapons. No resistance. Most importantly, he wasn't able to touch the data. They searched the apartment. No drugs. No cash stacked in walls. No armed guards or security systems. Nothing that would say this is the house of a drug kingpin. Just a laptop, a desktop computer, and 3 small hardware devices that looked like USB drives. The forensics team knew what they were immediately. Cryptocurrency cold storage devices. What they found confirmed everything. Vendor accounts for Liston. Across Silk Road, AlphaBay, Hansa, and a dozen smaller marketplaces. Transaction history showing over 8,000 Bitcoin in total sales. Customer databases, reshipper contact lists, supplier communications, and in a folder labeled templates, they found something that made the investigators pause. Template messages, hundreds of them, instructions for reshippers, responses to customer complaints, order confirmations, every single one signed the same way. I'm still dancing. The man was Banmeet Singh, aka Liston, 40 years old, Indian national, resident of Haldwani, India, but living in Coventry for nearly a decade. No criminal record before this, no gang affiliations, no violent history. Just a man who'd figured out how to turn the dark web into a logistics network. The apartment rent, £650 per month. His car, a 2014 Honda Civic. No luxury watches, no designer clothes, no signs of wealth at all. The DEA found evidence of 8,088 BTC worth of transactions linked to the username Listonish here, and the DEA had questions about where this money had come from and where it was now. After the arrest, the DEA began the 4-year-long battle to extradite him to the US. Even after the extradition, Liston refused to answer any questions until January 2024, when he agreed to a plea deal. Banmeet Singh agreed to forfeit the entirety of the Bitcoin cash found in his possession, 3,838 BTC, amounting to over $245 million at the time of sentencing. At the peak of Bitcoin, it would have been valued at over $450 million. This was the largest single cryptocurrency and cash seizure in DA history, and this was only a portion of the suspected traffic volume. But this wasn't even close to the most shocking thing about this trial. For building a multinational drug trafficking organization valued at $150 million, with a logistics network that rivals most corporate logistics companies, Banmeet Singh was awarded just 5 years of imprisonment, and he walked away scot-free just days after sentencing. You might be confused. How does a man who trafficked fentanyl, one of the most dangerous synthetic drugs ever created, get away scot-free? Liston got credit for the time he spent behind bars during the extradition battle, leading to his release just days after sentencing. The judge explained the leniency in sentencing as the fact that the prosecution failed to present adequate evidence that linked any direct deaths to Liston. The DE traced a portion of the unseized BTC to a man in Haldwani, India, Parwinder Singh, Banmeet Singh's brother. The Enforcement Directorate raided Parwinder's home on April 27, 2024. They recovered 268.2 BTC, amount to $17 million, a staggering $1.3 billion in local currency. This still left 3,982 BTC unaccounted for, lost to the ether of the blockchain. The DEA suspected other players were linked to the trafficking network, but are yet to publicize any further suspects. It's scary to think one of the most prolific dark web drug empires might still be operating. But what's really scary is that Liston created a blueprint for decentralized trafficking logistics that is resistant to any single platform going down, resistant to currency traceability, resistant to any single or group of reshippers being arrested at any given time. Liston created a template for dark web trafficking businesses that will live on long after. Liston is not here. But did the dance really stop?